Hi, doctor. Are you currently seeing patients with shoulder pain? What about frozen shoulder? What if I could teach you a neurological treatment system in which you could literally take a person from frozen shoulder to a full range of motion in 2 visits? And this system is so powerful that we guarantee results in 2 visits, or we don't accept the patient for care. Hi, I'm Dr. Andy Barlow. I'm a board certified chiropractic neurologist. I also carry a fellowship in functional neurology, and every Wednesday night at 5 p.m., I'm giving a 1-hour seminar free of charge. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help your community. I'm here to help our profession go to the next level. I personally look forward to seeing you every Wednesday night. I want to completely change your life and change your community's life. And I can help you do that because I've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of doctors from Europe to Canada, all the way to New Zealand with these types of health issues, okay? So I look forward to seeing you Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Central on the webinar. Have a great day. I look forward to seeing you on the internet.
Probably have an old school website, just like this old school Voltron from the 80s. Here's the thing, video websites are dominating the entire internet right now. But only 3% of people have video websites. What is a video website? When there's continual movement. The beautiful thing about continual movement is that when you have movement, it keeps the buyer wanting to stay on the website. Here's the beautiful thing. If you look here at Dr. Mo's website, he is dominating. His website's everywhere. Not only that, but he's omnipresent. It's about time to get you out of the static world websites where they don't move, doesn't do anything for you, but come into the video websites where we dominate Google and get you omnipresent. It's time to step in the future of marketing. Make sure you click on the button at the bottom for a consultation, and we'll get back with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Anthony with Edge on RegenMed Show. I am excited today. Well, I'm excited every day. I'm just excited because this is a great topic that a lot of people are not talking about. And today we have with us Dr. Kenneth Harless with HarlessSuccess.com, HarlessSuccess.com. And today we're going to be talking about taking your practice to the next level. So if you're not a doctor, please still share this, because I guarantee you there's a doctor on your Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you're at in this world. Sharing is caring. Why? Because one video can change one person's life. It's being selfless. And today, so again, we're going to be talking about taking your practice to the next level. And a lot of doctors are out there that are struggling right now with an epidemic that we just got hit with. You know, great things. The sun is rising still, and there's still clarity to be had. And I'm excited with Dr. Kenneth because he has not only built one of the biggest practices out there, but he is sharing his wealth mentally here to help you doctors or even business owners take your business to the next level. I know for a fact, I'm not going to go in it because it's not about me today. It's about you. Now, if you're not a doctor, you're probably wondering, how's this going to help me? Well, you're sick and tired of having stinking thinking and barely making it, and you want to take finances to the next level. I'm talking everything to the next level. You want to listen to Dr. Kenneth. Thank you so much, Dr. Kenneth, for being here on the show.
Man, Mark, thank you for this opportunity. God, my life is just so blessed. It continues to become more blessed. And I truly believe living is giving, just as you already said. So, you and I were speaking before this, and I'm very biblical, and as you are, and I think that's what drew us together. And I think this message needs to be heard. I'm going to take some universal principles, and I don't want people to get tied up in that as I did. Mm-hmm. I like to dissect words, and uni in Latin means one, and verse is voice, God's voice. And that's universal law. So when you understand these laws, if we can understand them, we can work with them instead of against them. Yeah. And you understand that that's a key that I want to really dive into and kind of give you my backstory a little bit also. I'm from a small town in West Virginia, 2 phenomenal parents that taught me work ethic beyond. I think for being that small state, people always kind of make fun of you. It really made me aspire and want to just give more and become more, study harder. And in the last few months, things have just popped. They've come together, almost like taking scattered light and harnessing it through a magnifying glass. And that's what this content has done, that I'll share some bits and pieces and hopefully leave you a little thirsty. But what happened was I became literally a chiropractor. I knew I was going to be one at 19 years of age. I had no idea I was going to serve people, but I wanted to be a doctor of some sort. I got into an accident, started getting migraines. I went to a chiropractor, scared to death, changed my life. I literally knew in my heart, I knew that was my calling. So I left. And my parents, everyone thought I was crazy. And I went to Iowa, where chiropractic all started. And in chiropractic college, I'm kind of dense, Mark, and God's got to hit me really hard between the eyes a lot. And I'm watching a buddy of mine read a book outside of class, which I just never even heard of. And it was called How to Win Friends, Influence People. If you've never read that book, phenomenal. And I said, well, what's that about? And then I read the title, I'm like, duh. So then the next week I see him read another book, and it was called How to Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. And I started to pick that up and started to change myself that way. And I just started to realize the potential, the God-given potential that we have that no one understands. And so I started to dive into this. I left, opened my practice 5.5 hours from home where I grew up. And I started studying and doing things. And it led me to Bob Proctor's work, who is my mentor. And I had a beautiful practice at the time, Mark. And I picked up a book called The Science of Getting Rich, one of my all-time favorites, along with Proverbs in the Bible. I started reading that book. The first time I read it, right over my head, I wasn't ready for it. And I can't remember who it was, but they said, when you read a good book through the second time, the book didn't change, we changed. Just as you said about Christ, when he said, I think it was in Romans, be not of this world, but by the renewal of your mind. And so long story short, I started applying these principles, tripled my practice in a matter of months. Didn't even know what happened. I kind of got stuck, and then I quit doing the material. I will never make that mistake again. When you're in flow, stay in flow. And it taught me a very valuable lesson. Well, back in October of last year, my wife and I were away at a seminar. I looked down at my phone, and Bob, he's 85 years young at the time. And I look down and I see the opportunity to see him live. And my wife never tells me to travel, Mark. I'm like you, I'm all over the place. And she says, honey, you need to go. So I booked the ticket. I don't wait. I make a decision. And that's one thing I've learned. Decision in Latin, de meaning from, decision, caedere means to cut. Make a decision and you take action. And while I was at this seminar, I'm literally getting off the plane. I'm getting on a transportation vehicle. I'm talking to everybody as I always do. Right. And I'm standing beside this guy. And he says, are you going to Proctor? I said, I am. He goes, well, I'm Brian Proctor, his son. And I was like, oh my God. His wife, dad, is a chiropractor. And some of the things I'm going to share with you actually were designed by a chiropractor. And so I get in, we go, I'm 2.5 days into this thing. I got to leave the seminar a little bit early. Now, Sandy Gallagher, which is Bob Proctor's main lady, they're business partners. She was a corporate banking lawyer who did 220 with a B billion in bank mergers. And her dad was also a lawyer. We see what I started to realize is we all just think we are what we do, right? We're this meat suit. We're not. We are a spirit. We have a mind, and we live in a physical body that we're renting, right? And so long story short, she's talking about Spanx. And I can't remember, Mark, you might know the lady that created Spanx, right? And so she started with this beautiful dream, and she just built this thing, this huge global empire. And we can now get Spanx as men, just so you know. Yeah. So I'm leaving. Now, this is back in January, mind you. And I'm leaving that seminar. I get to the airport, and I'll never forget. It was one of those God moments. And I'm going up the escalator, and I hear two young ladies at the airport. I've never been to Los Angeles in my life till now, been all over California. And they said, did you hear Kobe Bryant just died in a helicopter crash? I remember exactly where I was. I got hit in the gut just by God. And all of a sudden, I always wanted to be a consultant. I wanted to teach people these principles that help me and guide me. I just didn't have a system at the time. And I'm a systematic guy. When I can see it, I can be it. And so long story short, I'm going up there. I don't believe it. I'm looking down at my cell phone. I'm thinking this is fake news. And I'm it's like CNBC News. I'm buying some waters. And it says, tonight on the show Shark Tank, the founder of and on my life, as soon as they say Spanx, I'm looking outside at a Spanx store. I got hair standing up my arms right now. And relating that biblically, Mark 11:24, I think it is. Whatsoever, that means financial, spiritual, relational, whatever it is, physical, whatsoever ye ask, You have to have a vision. You have to have a picture. Believe, that's the faith, right? Through understanding, and ye shall receive. And so I come home, I tell my wife what I want to do, and all that I wanted was that blessing from her. And as it says in the Bible, God so hath what God has so put together, right? And I always picture this: when you take two raindrops or drops of water that's on a tabletop, maybe a glass countertop, and that's like us, and you join those together, there's nothing, you can't separate that back in equal components. And that's what God has his fingerprint on. And I tell my wife what I want to do, and she gives me her blessing. Now, Mark, granted, I have no idea. And so what I've learned, I didn't even know how to set a freaking goal. And I've read tons of books on it, to be honest with you. You see, there's three types of goals. You get an A type goal. Well, that's something you know how to do, right? Like I know how to turn a computer on or whatever. A B type goal, if I do this and this and this, well, that's what you think. That's a thinking goal. And if I do this, this, and this, I can attain that. A C type goal, you have no freaking clue in the plan of how you're going to do it. Well, I just had a B goal, and that B goal was to retire in 5 years from practice. Lo and behold, to me, what Bob says, with this material in 6 months, you need a telescope to look back to see how far you've come. So the first thing I like to do, and I want to share to give some people some nuggets on here today. If I ask you right now, Mark, to picture your front door, what color is it?
Red.
And an image pops to your mind, right? Now, if I ask you what color is your refrigerator, people will start to think, whatever it is, silver, black, whatever. How many doors does it have? Do they open right to left, left to right, up top? And people, what I'm doing is I'm changing your mindset to put you right into the kitchen. All that I did was ask you some questions, right?
Exactly.
Well, you've got to give somebody an image. That's what King Solomon said in the Bible. Where there's no vision, the people perish, or imagination. So the first thing we're learned in school to do is to stop imagining. You get in trouble for dreaming, right? Right? Mark, stop. You're daydreaming. Yeah, I would get yelled at all the time, right? And so we shut that human faculty down. And we don't even know that there's human faculties. That's the thing that blows my mind. So what they teach us in school, and I want to share this with you. Thurman Fleet was a chiropractor from 1934, and this is so true. Anytime someone markets, if you don't change your mindset, what happens, your income will hop up and then it drops right back down. Don't believe me, look at your 5 last years of your income. It's so close and related. Even network marketers, one of my good friends, his practice dropped, but their network marketing company income increased. And I go, your income's dropped. And he goes, no, it has. I said, yeah. I said, it might be fluctuated, but your wife's increase went up and yours went down. He goes, oh my God, you're right. I said, it's because your mindset's like a thermostat. If you have that temperature set at 70 degrees, and I said, all of a sudden somebody kicks your front door open and the temperature drops 65, it's going to automatically hit back up. So that's when your sales go down 1 month. And then, they didn't do that, but somebody flipped it and went up to 75. It's going to come back down to 70, isn't it? So that's exactly how this works. So there's a really cool word called a paradigm. I'd never heard of this. And a paradigm is simply a program stored in the subconscious mind that controls all of our unconscious behaviors. That means walking, riding a bike, brushing your teeth, same strokes, chewing your food, using the hand.
System.
You need those. Absolutely, right? So I want to give people, when I ask people when they see the mind, Mark, what I did, I think what most people do, as I've consulted with so many, is they think the brain. Well, the brain's not the mind. It does store images. It doesn't think, but it can cause you to think due to cells of replication. So check this out. This right here, this big circle, I like to teach my clients, that's the head. That's the mind, right? So right here beside this, the M means mind. Up here, all around us actually is spirit. Evenly present, all places, all time. And you and I, that's what a theologian would tell you God is. And if you ask a scientist, what created the universe? They say energy. And if you define energy, the same definition, we're just getting caught up on terms. So you have in your mind, which most people I think realize, they have a conscious mind and they got a subconscious mind. Here's the key. This is where you put images in, right here. That's the visual mind. Where there's no vision, see, people in life always get what they want. The problem is they don't know what they want. They focus on what they don't want. So when COVID hit, right, most people look at that as negative. Mark, you and I talk, our businesses have, right? So Newtonian physics, Isaac Newton, if you picture in your mind, I wish I had one, Newton's cradle, right? Those little balls. Right. If it's a little bad, it's a little good. If it's really bad, it's really good. What that means is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Biblically, we know this to be the law of sowing and reaping. Energy, vibration, right? You attract whom you are. Mark, you said it perfect earlier. You can only keep with that which you understand. And so this is a farmer. The farmer can choose the crop, the seed, right? It wants to plant. This is your farm land. Now this up here accepts and rejects ideas, Mark. And this is what I love. So when COVID first hit, I'm going to say, oh my God, wow, what happened? It gave me the platform that I needed to move into the next aspect of my life. I literally was in the middle of selling my practice. The goal took me 5 years is going to do. I did that in months. I literally relocated my family in Florida and just literally launched about another 5 companies, to be honest with you, all at one time. I couldn't even manage 2 before because I had no clarity. And where there's no vision, the people perish. And so, long story short, that farmer decides he wants to plant corn. Mm-hmm. Now, if you water it, you get it through here. And the biggest thing I found is questions, asking questions. Questions gets it into the subconscious mind. This is your emotional mind. This is what causes you to act. People do not buy things logically from the logical mind, the left brain. They buy emotionally through the right brain and justify here, right? So here's the key, is this comes down. What we do, the paradigms are right here. So if we have a brand new MacBook, but it's not hooked up to, I don't know, Windows, what is it? I don't even know what Windows are out there. I don't even pay attention to that stuff. But let's say Windows 10, let's say it Windows 95, we're going way back, Mark.
Right.
Doesn't matter what we all have the same. See, men are the same in nature, but they vary vastly in their habits. So now what happens is you don't have the proper program. How would that computer link and sync up with other computers? It can't. It's not the computer's fault. It's the programming. Somebody that's very gregarious like you and I versus somebody that's very shy. The mind works the exact way in both, and you attract back what you are. You're just, as you said, stinking thinking, right? So until you plant that idea into what the Romans call the heart of hearts, or the Greeks did, it then makes a vibration in the body. Now, most people operate really slow. They vibrate really slow. So remember how these are your results. So what we tend to do is you have to attract, this is physics. Albert Einstein said it. He said, whatever you want, get on the frequency. So now all of a sudden, you're going to attract the same slow frequency back. Now, what do you think a healthy body does? Do you think it vibrates fast or slow? So one that's doing lots in life, do they vibrate fast or slow? So what if you could do like this, right? That's a different frequency. You're going to attract back the same frequency. But it all starts in the alignment of the conscious and the subconscious. And until you align those two, nothing happens. So this is, how many of us have practices, this was me included, when I didn't understand this. So what we would tend to do is I could drive my practice, but if I left, it would drop, right? That's what I said about marketing. If you don't change the mind, you're never going to change your physical results. So here's what 96% of the world does. 2% of the world, 4%, 2 to 4% own 98% of the wealth. And yet the 96% of the people look at their physical bank account. Before they start a business, right? Or they look at their report card. That's where you're first taught.
Right.
You look at the report card and that's who you are. No, it's not. That's who you were a month ago. So they let this impregnate the image here, which then causes them to feel very bad about themselves. Poor self-image. It's a big lesson. I teach people self-image. And so now it's creating the image that they don't want. It's slowing the vibration and they're attracting back exactly who they are. What the ultra elite do, and this is, I don't care what religious text you read, I'm Christian. I don't care what it is or where it is. Here's what they tell you. Man becomes what he thinks about. Woman becomes what she thinks about.
Robert.
Absolutely, right? So they start with the image right here. One of my favorites was Hershey's. William Hershey sold his chocolatier company in 1902. And he sold it for $1 million in Manhattan. I absolutely love this story. He had a vision that he wanted to back then give people an opportunity to not just be slumlords. He created literally a utopic environment. And so he wanted to give people an opportunity to go to school and own their own home and all these things and have arts and crafts, things they would never have. And so he went and he didn't even have the product. He didn't have milk chocolate. It wasn't invented physically. He took it from the no thing, because everything's created spiritually already. It's up to us to tap into it using our mind, and it works with and through you. That's chiropractic philosophy again. So they know when they can hold it here, they're going to physically have it there. And he created something that wasn't even there. You see, I asked you, the cell phone, right? Steve Jobs, he had a vision for this thing. It never existed until he tapped into it. And when you understand that, that's abiding through laws of faith based on understanding, not blind faith where somebody farts on you, you fall over. If you understand these things, if you get in line with these laws will take you wherever you want to go. Jesus said that. He said, from those who gain more shall retain any, and from him who hath not shall be taken away that which he has. You see, once you learn to open up and think, all of a sudden your life changes. And it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Think about this. I remember when I opened my practice, I was 26 years behind the guy in the town. And the only reason I did, he put that on his billboard or his marquee sign. And what happened, we both did case histories, we both did exams, we both did x-rays. And yet we both had used the same tools. And yet, honestly, I would see more people in the first, I think it was 30 minutes of my day on Monday than he saw the whole week. And that's not good or bad. And there were people that probably did more than I did, Mark. I'm not trying to impress people. I'm trying to impress upon you. It has nothing to do with what you do, but it's how you do what you do. And you see that every single day. You know when that person has an it factor, but here's the key. People don't know. So I want to run through something. I think it'll make sense to our people here, but check this out. You remember, Mark, it's one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. You remember The Karate Kid?
Oh yeah, Cobra Kai,
Okay.
man.
Yeah, dude, that's right. They just brought that out, right? So check this out, okay? We're going to use the mind model. And I really started to understand the Bible better when I read this, but I want you to picture here, DK means you don't know, okay?
Okay.
Now, K equals know, like you know something, okay? So we're going to go through a little step process here with Daniel's son and Mr. Miyagi, and I'm going to go from memory here. It's probably not going to be the best, but I'm going to do my best, right? So what I want you to picture, we have the conscious mind, subconscious mind. Conscious mind, subconscious, so on and so forth, okay? So Daniel's son moves, I think it was from New Jersey to California, right? And he's getting his butt kicked. He's the new guy. Them guys are killing him, right? He doesn't even know what they're doing against him. All of a sudden, Mr. Miyagi jumps down. So at first, Danielson consciously doesn't know it's karate. He cannot defend himself and take action. He's getting killed, right? So he doesn't even know what it is. This is what school feeds you. All of us that are doctors went and got the same tests and all those things. That doesn't guarantee a hill of beans. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. They give us a bunch of information, and that is the biggest fallacy of all time. It's not the information, it's how you understand and apply the information properly. So Danielson doesn't know it's karate, but Mr. Miyagi hops down and he saves his butt, and Danielson says, well, what was that? And he said, that was karate. So now he's consciously aware, isn't he? But he still doesn't know karate. He's, I need you to teach me. So all of a sudden now, Danielson comes over and he thinks he's being taken advantage of. You see, a great master doesn't give you information, they help you pull it out. The information is already in you. What's impressed must be expressed. And when it's not, you're in friction. I was in friction for years because I wasn't fulfilling my purpose, and now I am. And so what happened, he started to have him wax the floor and sand the floor, all those things, as we remember, right? Clean the floor, whatever the heck and yada, yada. So now Mr. Miyagi goes fishing all day. And Danielson is so freaking PO'd and this and that. He comes back. Why are you taking advantage of me? I'm his kid. And he goes, it's not as it appears. And he said, show me sand the flaw. And just like every novice, remember, it's not what you do, but how you do it. He goes through the motion. And he said, that's not what I taught you. And he had him do it properly. Now, Danielson didn't still know that he was being taught karate. He didn't know that he knew it. This is where I got stuck right here, Mark. And so what happened now, he says he starts throwing punches, but telling Danielson what to do, and Danielson starts to block it. But then Mr. Miyagi truly makes him aware that he had no idea what he knew. He quits telling him, and Danielson blocks everything that he throws at him. So now Danielson did not know consciously that he knew how to defend himself with karate. This is where you'll have a doctor who is the star and they can't pass it on to their team, and yet they want to scale their business more. And so they market, they're treating symptoms, because we treat symptoms, whether it's physically, right, through drugs, whatever it is. We throw money at things, but we never work on the mindset, because people can't see the mindset. And when there's no vision, they perish. The true master knows and knows. And I want to back up. Nobody truly has ever mastered anything, right? I think it was Bruce Lee said, I don't fear the man that makes 10,000 kicks. I fear the man that makes the same kick 10,000 times. And so as you become, when the student's ready to teach or present, but here's what the funny thing is, as you teach, you become a better student. You start to collapse the time it takes you to get from here, A to point B. And that's what I did in a matter of months with my practice. And I've done it already with other chiropractors that have grown their practice every single month during COVID. In Michigan, where they couldn't even buy seed at one point. I've got people in the financial arena doing this, stay-at-home moms, OTs, it doesn't matter. I've got a kid that's getting ready to leave one thing and going into chiropractic college. It doesn't matter what you do. It's how you do it. And once you understand this, and you can understand the law of relativity and relating what one does to another, the possibility is endless. I hope that made sense. Was there any questions about that though, Mark?
Yeah, so I know that you have a Success Institute. So if people want to find you, they just go to harlesssuccessinstitute.com. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And is this a 3-week program, a 3-month program, a 1-year program?
Yeah, Mark, thanks. We have several things. So basically what I do is I want to start people off the right way. See, I have a daily method of operation. I wake up every day at 4:30 in the morning and I do my study. I start off with my Bible and certain verses I read in that Bible. And then I go through and I do a gratitude journal, some other things. I center myself. I don't want to say attack my day, right? But I guess I kind of do. I don't react to the day. I start my way off the way I want. Now, what I'm telling you this for is then what I do is I create a video. It's anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes on strategies and techniques that I use and I've used for years that allow people to gain an understanding through time spaced over repetition to create the change, because there's 2 ways people change. One's an emotional event, which is extremely rare. That's the Kobe Bryant thing with me. That's a 911 event or something like that.
Right.
The way you truly change is by, and this is what God meant in the Bible when he taught King Solomon. He said, if you're diligent in your work, you'll stand before kings, right? It is the constant repetition space over time. Why am I telling you this? This is how I start my day off, and I created a system. It's a subscription model. It's $19 a month. It's like 60 something cents a day, Mark, where I literally go live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 minutes in that ballpark, sometimes more, sometimes less. I whiteboard and strategize. Then I have what I find a lot, especially being a doctor, a lot of people get divorced, right? We don't grow together, we grow apart, especially when you have kids. And I have been so honest, like blessed beyond imagination, literally. And I created it, my wife and I created this. And so we go live and share what we do as a family, how we look at things to guide people on Saturdays, and that's inside there. Now, Monday night, I do another talk from 8 p.m. until 9, where I go 30 minutes live and then do Q&A on these kind of concepts as well. So that's for $19 a month. I'm in the middle, we're creating 2 other programs. And then I've got another system that is a 6-month time frame. Mark, this thing is I tell people, if you want to go fast, because life's so short, and Bob asked me, I said, Kenny, quit tiptoeing through life, trying to make it safely to death. Because that's the way I was living my life. I had money in the bank, things were paid for. I was extremely comfortable. I was in my own prison. And that shook my world, to be honest with you. And imagine what that takes for a man, Mark, and you know this being married, a woman wants security. And I'm going to uproot our family. She's going to retire from the occupational therapy. I retired from practice and move my family to Florida, all in a matter of months. So this is the strategy I use to do that. That's a 6-month course. And then we also have individual coaching as well. So it's really up to the client and the person and what they're looking for. We do one-on-ones to see what they want, how it would be a fit, and if we can add value. And if we can and it's a fit, we'll rock. And if it's not a fit, I don't accept clients. I'm in a point in my life, thank God, where I don't have to. But if they're willing to do the work, and I know that, they're going to get every piece of me. And I think you know that by now. You and I have spoke quite a bit. So,
Wow, this is amazing. I'm seeing right now, and I know for a fact that there's you have different types of people. Like with doctors, when I was a tennis pro, I can always tell when I'm talking with a tennis pro or another person. There's a certain cloth that each person's cut by. If you're a school teacher, you're cut by a certain cloth. Example, a school teacher is more standoffish. They want to play it safe, don't want to take a really big risk. Not saying all of them, but we'll say 90% of them. Then you have doctors where you know how they are because they're cut from your cloth, so you understand how to talk to them. Myself, a tennis pro, I call them high energy. We got that high energy, and that's okay. Everyone's different. But the point is that you have a system that basically God gave to you that were principles that were in the scriptures. And the cool thing is, even if you're a believer or non-believer, it doesn't matter, because these principles are going to work no matter what, because
Amen.
The creator created it. It's like Teflon, it's not going to break. So I love the fact that you're utilizing principles that are giving life and light at the same time, and changing, not only you saw your life change, but now you're focused on helping others change their lives. And the cool thing is you're also helping doctors and non-doctors. So it doesn't matter if they're in sports or if they're a homemade maker at home. Is that correct?
Yeah, it has no bearing. Lao Tzu said it so well. He said men's nature, and today would be person's nature, right?
Right.
They're the same. The mind is the exact same in every human being. It's how we program it. And unfortunately, most of us have got our programming through our environment where we were brought up, and people aren't even thinking. And I was one of those people for years, like Mark, you and I talked about, like we had no clue. I was a stepper. Why? You know what I mean? Like, well, I'll just go do this because that. Well, why'd you do it? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Well, I was programmed to do it. But you know better. Well, I know, but why did you do it? Well, I don't know. Like, talk to people in the stock market. They drop their money as soon as the market changes. Is that emotional or logical, right? It's emotional. We know logically you don't do that. And what we do is help people build that construct. But that's the beauty. They design their own life. Like everybody, that's why God put us all here. Everybody wants something different. I don't want exactly what you do, and you don't want what I do, right? And as King Solomon said, in all you're gaining, gain understanding, right? That's where I'm at now in my life. I mean, it's to be able to take people and help them, just be a little piece. I don't do it for them. I'm their guide. I just help them see the roadblocks that they don't see, so they can achieve and do whatever they want, whether it's more time with their family, or it doesn't matter what it is. We pull that out so they understand it, and then we give them a system. I didn't do this. I always wanted to do this because I didn't have a system. Now I do. I'm a firm believer in what you sow, you reap. So if I consulted someone and I didn't have a system and I couldn't get them results, I didn't know, then I wouldn't do it. But if I knew I could do it, I would do it. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I just literally jumped head over heels into this thing. My father told me I was absolutely crazy. Now he sees how much joy that I'm having. They were down a couple of weeks ago here, seeing our home and our neighborhood, and you attract who you are. You and I were talking about this earlier. It's not hairy-fairy. Voltaire said it best. He said, mankind creates words such as miracle to define a known effect of an unknown cause. And just because I don't know why the birds fly south every year and end up in the same spot doesn't mean that there's not a reason. Just because I don't know exactly how a cell phone works doesn't mean it doesn't work. I don't get value from it. But when you understand, you can teach anyone anything. I teach this stuff to my daughter. We do affirmations. I show her a stick person. And this is a simple one you can do with anybody. I said, Caden said, you don't like what you're seeing on TV. What do you do? See, if the image up here isn't right, she says, well, I don't feel good. I said, so what do you do? She's, well, I changed the picture with the remote. I said, that's how your mind works. And I said, if you don't like how you feel, you're holding the wrong image, whether you're aware or not. So change how you feel, whether it's movies, music, whatever it is. Watching your kids, I know you just get such joy out of that, Mark, you know what I mean? If that brings you joy, get there, right? And then hold the image you want. Mm-hmm. And you can link the two together. Wow. And that's how you create manifestation even faster. So I hope that makes sense. But
no, it makes a lot of sense. I love what you're doing. And I see what you're doing is you're helping people get from I don't know to I know. And the fact using the Karate Kid, see, it's beautiful how you utilize it. it's not like you invented it. Jesus invented it. He told the coolest
Absolutely.
stories, but when he said the stories, they were able to envision it. They were able to see it while he was talking. From I don't know to knowing, it was awesome because you might be doing this. People might even be trying to do this. But what's interesting is when you look at the Karate Kid and you painted that picture for me, got to the point where Ralph Macchio, the Karate Kid, was really frustrated. He was pissed off, actually. What are you doing? Trying to take advantage of me? And then all of a sudden he started fighting him. He's all right, wax the floor. Then he's all waxing, he's blocking. He's like, all right, paint the fence. And everything it became natural. And that's a certain zone very few attain. It's a zone. And I say the zone because you have to be in that type of zone. And in order to get that, you've got to go through, I don't want to say the pain, because I would say when you're going through a cleaning, sometimes there is a pain in which you got to let go of. That's junk. We got to let go of all that junk. And once we do that, then we can understand when Bruce Lee was saying, become water, my friend.
Yes.
Water's pure. Water is in the Hebrew is a spirit. It's life. It's where we came from. The spark.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I mean, I'm just saying, I love how you
Mark,
presented it.
I know you being a tennis pro, right? That wasn't the hardest part, getting to be a tennis pro. It was staying there.
You're so right.
People don't get that. I mean, like, here's the key, right? Everything around us in our environment tells us we want instant gratification. Like, we watch LeBron James on TV, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods at his peak, right, before he went down. Yeah. He was the top in the game and changed his swing twice. Why am I telling you this? Well, what's going to happen when you go through the system with me? You're going to hit a level. You're going to get stuck. That's the paradigm you created. But once you have the system, you just plug it back in and just level up. And what we start to realize is that we undershoot what we can actually do, right? I mean, that's the beauty of life. It never stops. It never, we are not designed. I tell my clients this: always be grateful, but never be satisfied. Mm-hmm. And because God doesn't want you to be satisfied, the more God has through us, the more he can play through us, right? So if you get a nice car, it's not really the car, it loses its luster. I know you're building a new home, brother. Congratulations. And that's wonderful. But what really is going to bring you joys and memories you're making there is having your friends over at that house, right? And who did you have, as Jesus said, the greatest amongst you is a servant of all, not one, all. Every single person. To give to someone, right, something, and you expect it back, that's not giving. To give love to someone and you expect to get it back, that's not giving love. To give money to somebody, right, that is going to pay you back, that's not true giving. That's the parable of the lady when she gave, 2 cents, I think, or something. That's all she had. Yet people gave more because they had more. And from that's what Jesus was teaching us, right? So you have to up your game every single day. Yeah. If playing the game was where it was at, retired golfers would be the best golfers on the planet. The difference, they don't practice. You have to practice this. This isn't a trial run. You get one shot at biting this apple, and I want to make as big an impact as I can. And that's why I quit practicing. I was tired of being inside walls, and I knew I had more to give and more to share. So
I love it. I love how you mentioned walls. And then we were talking about getting unstuck, how sometimes we get stuck, we hit this level. Okay, I hit this level. And the only reason why we get stuck is because somewhere a long time ago, we said in our mind that we can get stuck. And that's the only thing, is because that was something that was taught to us. Absolutely. When you get a problem, it's like not when I get a problem, how am I gonna take care of this? I'm gonna have a solution. Okay, I'm here. Get into the quiet place. God, where is you want me to go? And it says, my people, my sheep hear my voice. And that's the kicker that's been hitting with me, with what I'm doing. God's using you in a mighty way. God's using myself in another way, but it's still one. That's the cool thing. And the way, now let me ask you one question. How do we stay in that? How do we stay in that zone? Where
Absolutely
there's
phenomenal
no
question.
level, and then there's no levels after that. It's just
Gratitude is it. Totally it. Get in gratitude. Before I put my feet out of the bed, I literally go through minimally 10 things that I'm grateful for in my head, and I don't get out of bed just going through it. I feel it. I'm telling you, I get goosebumps before I get out of bed.
love
It
it.
changes my frequency, and then I write it out. And I always write it, I am. Those are the two most powerful words, right? That's what Moses asked God in front of the burning bush. What shall I call you? I am that I am. And I thought about it, made me think, right? It was the backward speaking, right? The backward speaking, like Christ would do, I'll make you a fisher of men, talks to the subconscious. That's what metaphors do. So when I coach clients or anyone, I don't give them answers for if I'm stronger than you physically or mentally, the only difference is the tool in which you do it. But if you help people see their God-given potential, if you help them see that, they can be that. So I ask questions to help them pull these things out that they're not seeing. And that's all that happens with that. Is it when he said, I am, well, I am that wall. I am. I am that computer. I am love. I am. You look at everything totally different. And when you're in that state of gratitude, as Mother Teresa said, if you spend time judging, you have no time to love. And so when you're constantly, there's a law of polarity. If you're having a bad thought, which we all do, you flip it to the exact opposite. So
Like
if
your
there's
daughter
10,
said.
absolutely. She's exactly what she did, right? They're smarter than we are because they don't have to. See, if we do the right things to start, kids only have to learn. You and I have been programmed. So we have to go through, we have to become aware, we have to unlearn and then relearn, right? And what I tell people, I don't want to spend any time on your past programs. Like, and I had a client the other day, like, kind of argue. I said, look, are you getting the results you want? He's like, no. I said, well, either do what I ask you to do, because if I coach you the way you want to be coached, you're never going to grow. You would already have done it. And he looked at me and I said, look, if you're cold, do you rub ice cubes on your body to make yourself warmer? Do you turn the air conditioning up? He goes, no. I said, well, then why would you put energy towards something you don't want? Let's flip it to what you do want.
That's awesome. Wow, I love that. I love how you put that, and it just kind of brought me back to just kind of, as you're talking, I'm marinating on I am. And I feel like sometimes we can say things and sometimes we don't realize that we've got this time bomb that we just threw out there, but we're going on the next one. I stood on your time bomb when you threw that out there, I am. And it's so easy that we can just say, yeah, okay, great. I am in the Bible. That's what God had called himself. But it's like, wait a minute. No, freeze frame, as my son would say. When you look at I am, that's the beginning. When you switch it around, I look at it like this. When we're young, we can understand that, like your daughter. And as 10, 20, 30 years goes by, it goes from not I am, you get older and you get tarnished by the world. And you get a lot of junk in your backpack.
Yep.
And it goes from I am to am I when we get older. And we're having to our brains having to be reprogrammed. No, I am, not am I. And that's when you said that, it just kind of hit me. And it's like when we start to realize our identity, where our identity came from, in the book of Genesis 1, where it says, let us make man, let us, plural, 3, make man in our image. When we realize we're made in God's image and we can do all things through Christ, not some, never said some.
Nope.
It did say through Christ, but it's got to be through. Anyways.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Dr. Kenny, you're a blessing. I love what you do. I'll be sharing your stuff every time you put information out into the internet world. And doctors, you want to take your practice to the next level. Get the mind out of the way. Call the number on the screen. Dr. Kenny will be available. He's an unbelievable man. He's like David, God after man's heart. And everyone, if you're not a doctor, it's okay. You want to take your business, you want to take your life to the next level, give Dr. Kenny a call, and make sure you go to www.harlesssuccess.com, harlesssuccess.com. And again, Dr. Kenny, thank you so much, and you have a blessed day.
Hey, brother, thank you for the opportunity. And I hope somebody gets something out of this and it changes a life. As BJ Palmer said, You never know how far reaching something you say, think, or do today can affect millions of lives tomorrow. And now with the internet, it's billions. So who would ever thought that, right? Thank you, bro.
Thank you.